Hey guys, welcome back. BDC Care here. We're back with Season 4, Episode 24 of our weekly Q&A&T videos. This week we don't have quite as many questions, so we've got a few shorter questions about building teams.
Yep.
I guess this is a good opportunity. If you have any questions, feel free to send them in to us. I mean, we're always kind of soliciting. I think it's pretty obvious at this point.
When you say send them in, just even the comments is basically where we grab all the questions so far. Yeah.
So if you have a question and you want it answered, you put it in the comments, and we'll go ahead and see what we can do about that. We'll probably answer in one form or another, as long as we catch it.
Yeah.
Okay, first question comes from Mateo Vasquez, and they say, "Hey, can you guys give me recommendation gears to give to Scorpion?"
So the broader question in general is always, how are you going to play them?
Yeah.
And we've got sort of a favorite loadout for different things. I know some people do it differently because they use more of the LexCorp gears, and I've actually shied away from it a little bit because a lot of the gears, the legendary gear sets, have sort of a mix of different abilities. So some are for basic attacks, some for specials, some for tanky kind of stuff, and they're all mixed in. And I prefer to go whole hog one way, glass cannon be damned. If I'm going to make somebody like a basic damage dealer, I'm going to make him like a one-hit KO nasty kind of damage dealer. Right?
Nasty. That's not a adjective that I was expecting.
Okay, so, if you play Scorpion for his damage over time with his specials, then you want to make him a special specialist. If it's the Scorpion that has the extra health per promotion, make him a tank. And then you can gear him up to it, but it entirely depends. And you can see some of that at work in the team that we've got here, right? So Deathstroke here is our special specialist. That's my favorite gear loadout for special specialist, but I might tweak it depending on whether I'm going to focus on special 1 or special 2.
Yeah, so I guess if you're assuming this is basic... Do we have a basic Scorpion? There's a Netherrealm Scorpion. There's a...
Mortal Kombat
Scorpion.
And Mortal Kombat X Scorpion. So there's 3 of them.
So, assuming any one of the Scorpions, what would your gear loadout be? What would you be looking for?
Well, again, it depends on how I want to play him, because, I mean, I don't like Scorpion because he feels a little bit slow to me, but if he's going to be basic damage dealer like we've got Batman here, this is exactly how I do it. As a tank, you gear him like we've geared Aquaman. If it's a special specialist, you gear him like we've geared Deathstroke.
So for the benefit of Mateo, if he hadn't watched while we were skimming it earlier, wasn't attentive, what gear set you want to put on him?
Okay, so overpowered pill is sort of the ideal basic stuff. You know what? Honestly, if I was going to use Scorpion, I think I would use him as a special specialist.
Yeah.
So Tantu Totem, Master's Death Cart, and maybe Ibis for the extra damage over time, or maybe something to boost either special 1 or special 2, depending whether I think I'm going to use that the most.
So there we go. That's some general advice and some specific advice. Next question comes from Saggy Meat Lump. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that one right. And they say, I'm making a team with Arkham Knight Batman, and I'm trying to get him a 100% crit chance for a special 1. He already has a 50% chance from augments, and he has to have League of Assassins daggers and Cloak of Destiny. Does anyone know of a gear or support character I could use to get that extra 50% crit chance?
Right, so this is interesting. I'm going to answer the question directly, but it just occurs to me as I'm looking at the question, there's a few things that you might want to consider. So the answer to your question is the max crit chance on special 1 that you get by gear is 40% only with LexCorp gauntlets.
Yeah.
And that's why, to me, the best loadout is League of Assassins knives, Cloak of Destiny, and LexCorp gauntlets to get the best chance of crit. But that means you need to get your bar of power somewhere else, right? So that could be Batgirl. It could be, a teammate like the Wonder Woman that gives you power when she does her specials, right?
So, short answer, League of Assassins, knives, Cloak of Destiny, and LexCorp Gauntlet with Batgirl as your support character. So that's gear and a support character that gets you where you want to go.
But I think maybe you're aiming for the wrong thing a little bit. All right, so first part is...
You can't.
You can't get it, but he's got multiple hits on a special 1.
Yeah.
So each hit has a chance of critting. So if you've got 90% chance of crit, you're critting about 90% of the full crit, 90% of the 250%.
Yeah.
So aiming for 100 is interesting, but it doesn't nearly give you as much benefit as you'd think as compared to somebody who, like Luchador Bane, who is a 1-hit special 1, and then it's all or nothing. And then you don't want to have that chance of 10% where it's nothing, right?
And the other thing is, crit chances aren't additive. They're separate rolls.
Right.
So it's multiplicative. So what that means is, you get closer and closer and closer. You can never get fully to it. So you have the 50% crit chance on him, and then each other gear you have on him is a separate roll. So it goes for one, and then the other, and then the other.
Now, it used to be like that. I don't know if they changed it, because remember what happened was One of the now you actually can get close to 100% on crit chance for basic damage, because I think that the crit chance that's from augmentations is a little bit different than the crit chance from gears. So I'm not sure of the numbers, and I don't think I've looked at enough for the times that we've done it to actually check it out. But that's just another argument, actually. That's a good point to say that aiming for 100% is not going to be that useful. Now, here's the other thing, too. Normally, I love the League of Assassins knives and the Cloak of Destiny and LexCorp gauntlets on Special One Specialist that's going to totally wipe out the other team.
Yeah.
However, the stun that he brings when you tag in, relatively low percentage. He doesn't do it naturally like Lucha Urbane, so you tag him in, a lot of times he's not going to be stunning. Also, his special one is so powerful if you take the Wayne Tech boost to boost critical damage and his special one damage, that you're going to knock them out after you've done your special one. So you're very rarely going to get somebody who's stunned.
Yeah.
To do the extra damage, which you don't really need, you're going to miss out on it. So the Cloak of Destiny offers actually a lot less in this specific scenario than you'd think. So my feel would be actually to League of Assassins knives, for sure. LexCorp gauntlets for the special one crit chance increase. And I'd probably put in something else that would boost the special one power if that's what you're aiming at. And I think from a practical point of view, look, in theory, Cloak of Destiny, amazing if he stuns. In practice, he stuns so seldom a guy who's got a lot of health. Because clearly, if you're going to do a huge amount of damage, you don't want somebody with hardly any health left, right? Where a bunch of the hits will not transfer on to the next guy. So maybe rethink that a little bit. That's actually the longer. I was thinking these were going to be all short questions, but I'm looking at them. I'm thinking of other things.
More to talk. Yeah. Our next question comes from Thomas Aparicio, and they say, currently testing a team in the form of Apocalypse Darkside, Regime Killer Frost. It's been doing pretty good, but I don't have all the current 5-star gears.
Okay, so the first point, maybe we should do this video sooner rather than later. We've got another team that it's off the shelf, meaning guys you can buy directly from the store from the very beginning, with also off the shelf gears. So only stuff that you can get from the gear locker. And the only 4.5-star gear, let's see if we can get this kind of nomenclature.
4 evolves into 5. We'll mention it to start out.
Right, so it starts off as 4, it evolves into 5. We're going to call those 4.5-star gears. The only one is Razzle Scimitar. And it's a really good team. And I don't want to spoil it here, but maybe we need to, we've got to put that out. So 5-star gears aren't necessary. And I'm not actually a big fan of Regime Killer Frost as far as her passive goes. So she's got relatively, for the time that she came out, highish kind of health. So she makes a decent tank. But her passive of nerfing healing on the other team doesn't come into play often enough. But that might just be because we prioritize offensive potential and damage per second, so that we're hopefully not lasting long enough that healing becomes any kind of significant part of the fight.
Yeah.
So you're not really helping yourself. I mean, you're slowing the other team down, or they're not healing as much, but I think in a relatively short fight, healing isn't that important. Yeah, but Killer Frost, the one no power generation, or low power generation, she's amazing. I love her. She's really good. So if you're going to have a Killer Frost, stick it in Regime if you like her, but I don't know that it's something that you'd want to necessarily plan around. Somebody else with a better passive would be better.
Yeah, for sure. So there we go. Our next question comes from BestGlaive in the world, and they say, can you make a new, different version for survival mode by beating it with a new team? Please reply yes or no. Happy with both answers, LOL. And I like that. I like that you're saying straight up, it's like, tell me no, just tell me.
Yeah.
Right?
Tell me something.
Respond to me, and I'm okay with either one. I like that kind of setup where we know we're not going to disappoint you by saying, actually, we're just not going to do that.
Yeah.
Which I think is maybe our answer.
Which is crazy, actually, in some ways, because now that I'm thinking about it, that's, I think, a big part of the reason why, in the YouTube context, that videos will get dislikes is when you give somebody, you're advertising something that you're not going to deliver.
Yeah.
And so you're giving somebody what they don't want as a bigger picture kind of stuff. So, yeah. we're responding. So I hope you're happy. I think probably not.
And there's a couple reasons. It takes a long time. How long was the video? Like
40 something minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say 46 minutes. It felt like, and I don't know why I have that number in my mind.
And it's filming from the very beginning, and it's. I mean, that's if you've got a run that you're happy with, right?
Yeah, I don't think we won every time. I think there was runs that we lost.
So there have been nerfs to the way the characters that we like the best. So Reverse Flash is the most important one. And the way he's able to do the stun lock, where he just keeps on doing the basic attack to the point where they can't even do a special.
Single swipe over and over again, right?
Right, with a fraction of a second pause, so that you don't finish the combo. They've nerfed it so that he doesn't get the same kind of speed boost that he did before from a special one. So it's harder to do. So then instead of being able to finish Survivor maybe half the time that you tried, it's a much smaller percentage. And then you have to spend really 30 minutes each time potentially failing to not finish the Survivor.
To get to the part where you're actually going to lose.
Right. And now that we've done it and demonstrated that it's possible, I'm really not digging the idea of spending that much time on getting so few tickets. Because I think we've illustrated pretty clearly that the most efficient way to play Survivor is to maybe finish 9 or 10 fights, motor through it, and then just play it over and over again. Because it takes a lot longer to finish the higher levels just because they got so much health. And that's even if you were able to win it every time. The health is just nuts.
Yeah, so, short answer, probably not. Long answer, maybe. Probably not, but maybe. Who knows?
Originally, I actually had planned on never doing a Survivor run because I thought, the idea of it. But then of spending that much time inefficiently. But then the idea of finishing Survivor and just showing that it can be done for all the people who are saying, it's so hard and whatever.
And then also having proof.
Yes, exactly. So probably not, but I guess never say never.
Yeah.
Not my schedule. We got 3 or 4 more teams with footage that I want to demonstrate before we even get to something like Survivor.
Yeah, so hopefully if an answer was what you're happy with, that is satisfactory.
Or even just hearing your name. And I hope we pronounce it right?
Yeah.
BestGlaive? I'm not sure what that means.
Glaive. It's a type of blade. I think it's a throwing blade, specifically.
Oh, so like a little dagger? Like a throwing dagger?
I'm not 100% sure. I know it's a blade of some kind.
Okay.
I don't know exactly if it's throwing or not, but, our next and final question comes from Damien Wayne, and they say, I have a question. How come, and then in brackets, Regime Shazam wasn't added to the mobile version yet?
So this is in reference to some unreleased content that's in the game, but it's been in the game for a long time, but in an incomplete form so that it's not usable.
Glaive is just a sword, it's not for throwing. I just looked
it up.
Oh,
okay. Alright. So how do you feel about unreleased content?
I think it's a waste, but I have to imagine if they put the work in to do it, there's a reason.
I guess that's true. Maybe we should differentiate between the two kinds of unreleased things, right? There's stuff that's late that doesn't come out in the update. Like, for example, TNT Totem, right?
I don't mind that.
Right. And things that are probably never going to be released.
Like Regime Shazam at this point.
Or there's a different Killing Joke Joker. There's also an Ares that they ended up using a variation of as the breakthrough guy.
The boss Ares.
Right. There's also the Crown of Krypton as gear.
Oh, yeah.
There's also...
That was the one that gave you a chance at packs, right? No, which one was that?
A chance at packs and a chance at knocking out a combo ender, and that's sort of a joke to me because, there's always a chance at knocking them out at combo ender if their health is low enough. But there's also Joker's Wild, which was the closest to being something that was with the abilities that was something that could actually be released. And I'm of two minds, right? Because I think, at least for the stuff that's coming out later, we've made a not bad, I won't say career, but a not bad sort of focus on unreleased content before it comes out. And
doing quick demos.
Yeah. And I think you made a really good point about how when they do stuff, there's probably good reason, and a lot of the stuff that's not released ever is incomplete.
Yeah, because they put work into it.
Yes.
Is the thing. So, however invested you are, they invested more man hours into it.
Right.
No matter how emotionally invested you are. they are more temporally invested in
Right, so
the thing.
I'd have to imagine that there's a really good reason that they decided not to. That there's something
Or
wrong.
even if there's not a good reason, there's a reason. Maybe they lost it, you know? Not lost it, but like stopped working on it for whatever reason. There's a reason somewhere, and it's easier for me to let go of the fact that we're never going to get it if I imagine that they had a better reason. That they just tooled it enough, and they just decided that it wasn't working for them.
Yeah, what's cool though is that they've already got a character model. So if they ever decided to do that, it would be a relatively low-hanging fruit.
They've already got the stuff in place, yeah.
Yeah, but I think based on how long it's been, right? I mean, inductive logic is sort of problematic no matter what. But based on how long it's been in the code and they haven't done anything with it, I think
Probably
the chance
not.
of it coming out is pretty darn low.
Yeah. So we don't actually have too much time left here.
No, we've got a couple fights. Do you want to talk about? There's a game that we were just talking about recently, or do you want to just comment on the fight?
I say we talk about the game in passing.
Okay.
Because I think we might have mentioned this briefly when we first played it. We played a game called What Remains of Edith Finch. A long time ago. It takes about 90 minutes. It's a narrative-focused game. It's not objective-based the way traditional games are. The objective is to finish it and experience the story. There's no like points or whatever. The systems are all just in service of the narrative. And it's really, really good. It's a quick play, like I said. It's a little bit... I don't want to spoil anything. It's a little bit fantastical, but not in like a fantasy way.
Right.
It's a little bit... It's quiet, it's emotional, and it's really cool. And without... I think the least spoiler thing is you go back to your childhood home, and you explore your childhood home. And it's just the stuff that arises from that. And it's, I would say, kind of similar to Gone Home in that you're looking through a home, and what's left in it, and you're kind of looking at stuff.
So maybe let's talk about less the actual stuff in the game as opposed to our reactions to it.
It was really, really good. It was poignant. I was sad at points. I was really glad to have played it. And it's a game that's obviously stuck with me for a while. I played it at the beginning of 2018 when I saw it on some people's Game of the Year list.
Right. And so you loved this.
I loved it. And I think...
Would it be exaggerating to say this is maybe one of your favorite games ever?
I don't think it would. I think there's short games that stick with me like this, and then longer experiences which I like put way more hours into. Like Skyrim, I think I put close to 100 hours into. But...
So based on the Paul Blart kind of metric, it's not that great a game is what you're saying. It doesn't last very long, but leaves you thinking a lot about it afterwards.
The Paul Blart metric we need to mention. This is from this is a thought from Anthony Birch on the YouTube video Gone Home, on the YouTube video series Hey Ash, What You Playin'? And
okay, unfortunately the fight's over. You know what? I'm gonna add more footage so we can finish this. I actually want to finish this discussion
because this is a funny idea. It's the idea that often people have in games, which is the more hours it is, the more inherently valuable it is.
Right.
And so Papa Birch, his dad in the show, says the closer it puts me to the grave, 40 hours closer to the grave means that it was a better game by that much.
Right.
And Anthony Birch says that's insane. That's like saying Paul Blart. If you watch Paul Blart twice in a row, it's better than The Godfather.
Right.
And he says no. I'm saying if you watch Paul Blart 6 times in a row, it's better than The Godfather, Casablanca, Citizen Kane, and whatever all combined.
Right.
And so it's that principle of time spent playing versus quality of experience, and I think it's quick, but it's every moment for me was really strong. And I know there's moments that you can get stuck. I think that was
all right. So, and I'll put to you that maybe that your experience with it, where you spend time thinking about it afterwards, that still puts you closer to the grave. So there's still value in that too. So even if you're not playing it, that it's making you think, that it has value.
Yeah.
So what's interesting, okay, so I enjoyed the game, but I don't think I enjoyed it nearly the same way that you did.
You don't think you're taken the same way, and I understand that because I watched you play the game.
Yes.
And the difference was that I think I play a lot more games on the computer.
All right, so this is an excellent point. And sorry, I'll let you finish, but I had something to say about that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was it?
oh, you'll let me finish now. Oh, I think it's a question of game literacy. I think I know what to expect from games, and so when I see stuff, I take subtle cues. So one of the ways that the game does stuff, and again, not to spoil anything, but there's a lot of contextual mechanics where you're always using WASD and the mouse, and that's it. So left click, right click, move your mouse around,
Right.
W, A, S, and D, and those are the only controls. And those controls are repurposed in a variety of different ways depending on what you're doing,
Right.
and a lot of that is to make you feel more in the action. So an
Right.
easy example that doesn't spoil anything, if you open a door, you click on the door, you reach out and grab it, and then to open the door, you slide your mouse in the direction that the door hinges open.
Right.
And you pull the door open on screen. So there's that kind of like, when you're doing stuff, the way that you move your mouse is the way that your character moves their hand in the world.
Right.
So they do a lot of stuff like that. And so that, once I realized what's happening, that came to me really fast.
Right.
And I think you were still kind of figuring stuff out about that.
So it brings me to a bigger point where I think it has to do with how we come to art in general, and I was thinking literature specifically, is that
because that's the ones that you understand better.
Because even though there's a writer that put something out there, and the text exists as it is, a big part of it's a communal kind of experience where the reader brings something to it.
Yeah.
Whether it's their expectations, their experiences, other things that they've read, and that experience of reading it creates something that's very unique to that person.
Yeah, and I think the unfortunate reality of games is games are more fun the more you've played games.
Right.
The quicker that you can jump in and be good at something and feel good at it, when you can jump into a new shooter and you go, well, I've played 20 other shooters, I already know exactly how this is going to play. I probably know what most of the controls are already.
Right.
When I go into a game and I'm like, oh, I know how to reload, change weapons, do all that stuff. Inherently, it's a more fun experience.
Exactly, because it really is that user interface thing. The only game that I've really spent a lot of time playing is maybe Street Fighter 2. So the versus kind of fighting games, I'm actually okay at. I can jump in and I can enjoy them.
You played a lot of time. You spent a lot of time with Soul Calibur.
I did. That's true.
You beat Portal and Portal 2.
That's true too. So, but we can't get away from the fact that my gameplay experience is much more limited, and my ability to get into a game, I'm right at the bottom of that learning curve instead of right at the top.
And you still liked it a lot, right?
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. But it didn't get me that much closer to Grave than it seems like it got you.
I think it was $15. Would you say that's a worthwhile purchase at the price?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so there we go. That's I would say almost anybody would enjoy the game if you're willing to have a serious and short game. And I think if you're good at games, you really have the opportunity to love the game.
Right.
So there we go. We went way over time, but interesting conversation. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Okay.
But we've got to give a thank, to our wonderful patrons. We have Alberto Jr. Camarillo, who's supporting us at the top tier, Last Word. We've got iProfit, who's supporting us at the Your Message Here tier. And we have both Lane and Daniel Simonson supporting us on the credited level. So huge thanks to you guys. Huge thanks to everybody for watching. We'll see you next time. Komoda.